Chris Cowlin. Fan cams. Club news. Transfer news. Match previews. Legend interviews. Spurs women. Press conferences. Covering everything Tottenham and England.
Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast. In this edition, of course, we will always be talking about Tottenham Hotspur, everything Tottenham Hotspur. But in this edition, we will be going through a lot of viewers' comments and questions. Now, everyone involved in this channel, and particularly the Spurs Chat Podcast, really appreciates all the comments that you leave, video after video, stream after stream. So this is your chance to get your voice heard on this channel because we really do appreciate you. So please do get involved. We are live at the moment on YouTube, on X and on Facebook. So please do get your comments in and we will get through as many as possible. Back with me is channel regular and someone that is very important to this channel, and that is actor Ricky Norwood. Ricky, how are you?
I am good, my friend. I'm good. I saw you do this with Craig the other night and it looked awesome. It looked awesome. And I'm so excited to just speak to the people that watch this show, you know, every single show and every single week and listen to me rant for 15 minutes and kind of go on 27 tangents. So it'd be great to hear from all of you beautiful people from around the world because this show is worldwide. So, you know, when you send your comment in, make sure you chuck your flag on it or make sure you mention where you're from. And let's see how far we can get around the world tonight. It's going to be exciting.
Ricky, are you looking forward to this? Because as I said to you off air just now, there are going to be some positive comments. There's also going to be some negative comments. Of course, you know, we all have different opinions on our beloved club, Tottenham Hotspur, but of course, we all want the same thing. Since you've been on this podcast in the last couple of years and been a regular week by week, you know, we do receive some fantastic comments from all around the world, like you said, that enjoy what we do, talking about Spurs. Of course, we love talking about our club. But are you looking forward to this? And where do you stand at the moment? How are you feeling as a Spurs fan right now?
No, man, I'm super excited about this. And you know what? Like exactly what you said there is like when you love your club and when you love this game so much, it means everything to you. So the fact that you have a different opinion or you feel a certain way, I've always said on this show that, you know, like every single opinion is respected. And if you truly feel the way that you feel, then you are right. I'm just going to give you my opinion that might be different to yours. And what I want is a discussion. What I want is balance, you know. So that's what I'm really, really looking for. Big up to Darren Hart and shouts out to South Africa as well.
Ricky, let's get straight into this. I'm going to start with a comment from Ben. He said here, thoughts on the transfer window so far, excited or nervous? I'll tell you what, let me start on this one.
Go for it.
The transfer window, as I've said on many occasions, we've got 30 odd days left of the transfer window, so I am not panicking yet. It's fair to say Ange Postecoglou has been backed in the two transfer windows so far. I'm certainly hoping that he's going to be backed in this window, i.e. bringing in a couple of experienced Premier League players or players that have been there and done it, because of course we are bringing in the youth, we're bringing in some exciting talent, and of course it was announced today by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club that we have reached the agreement for Yang Min Hyuk to join the club from K-League One side Gang One FC, subject to a work permit and international clearance. He's just signed a contract with the club that will run until 2030. So as far as identifying players, as far as getting you know, the recruitment process is so much better than it was before. I feel very optimistic, you know, how the club moves forward. However, I think there are a lot of negative comments at the moment from a lot of fans worried that we're not going to do the business that Ange Postecoglou wants us to do. And probably most important to us fans, that we want the club to do. But I suppose me being quite level-headed about it, I'm not panicking yet. If it's on the 30th of August and we haven't signed a striker in, which I think is absolutely imperative that we sign a striker in this transfer window. And in the last couple of days, I've been talking to a lot of Spurs fans off air, of course, about strikers. And when you think back in the day, the amount of striker options that we had. And it seems that, you know, throughout Harry Kane's career at Spurs, we've had very limited striker options. That needs to change, in my opinion. But I do think that we need to bring in experienced players in this window. But I'm very happy with what Spurs have done so far in terms of identifying top young talent. Ricky, how are you feeling?
Firstly, I understand the worry and I understand the frustration because I've been there. I think we've all been there as Spurs fans. And I think that's why I'm personally a little bit calmer and I'm taking it easy a little bit. I have done for the last 3 seasons, I think. 2-3 seasons when it comes down to the transfer window. I've kind of just sat back a little bit because we get it. We get linked with all of these superstar players and we put our hopes and our dreams on it and we start placing them in the team and we see those images in the shirt and we start thinking of how they can change their team and take it to the next level, and it doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Or there's been true links with players that we should have got in or that we've made bid for and they've not quite been the right bid to get that player over the line, and we've suffered for that as well, you know, going for the cheap options as it was back in the day. So I totally understand the worry and I totally understand the frustration. But for me, the reason why I am a lot calmer is because ever since Paratici's come in, I have seen a shift. I have seen a change in who we identify, how we get players over the line, and there's been a clear strategy. There was that video that Spurs put out about... it was interviewing Paratici and he kind of laid out his 5-year plan, you know, and, you know, little bit by little bit it's coming to fruition. We're seeing that even though he's not at the club and, you know, he's consulting now, there is still the same ideology and the same philosophy for them going forward. We saw what they done last year. And even though some of them were questionable at the time, we've seen him actually bear fruit. So Vicario was one, okay? So I remember being on this show and speaking about Vicario going, you know what, that triple save, it looked amazing, you know?
Yeah.
But I did have worries. I had worries about his catching from corners and being bullied off the ball when going up to catch the ball. And also when he used to save in some of the highlight packages, because I never saw a 90-minute game of Vicario. I saw a lot of the highlight packages, but when he used to parry back into the box, which was then almost inviting a chance from the opposition to score. So I did have my worries, but little bit by little bit, my worries got less and less and less and less as I saw him play. Yes, there were some things throughout the season where they did target certain aspects, but what I did see from Vicario was a will to kind of learn, a will to fight, a will to lead. He was brave. It never kind of shirked him. And he stood up. And I think Vicario is definitely one of the successes of last season. Same as Van der Ven. I wanted Tap Sober at the time. I felt Tap Sober was the more experienced one. He had speed, composure, good in the tackle. I saw Van der Ven and I saw his lightning quick speed and I saw that amazing tackle that I think we all saw around the world with him playing in Germany. And I was like, wow, it did actually blow my head away. But I was like, I think we need the experience at this point. That's how I felt at the time. Van der Ven came in and has been, you know, absolutely phenomenal. Gone from strength to strength every single game that he played. When he was out injured, it was one of the biggest blows for our season last season, because him and Romero started building a relationship. They starting to have an understanding, and we started to look really, really good. Those that went on loan that we bought in as youngsters, like Sarr and like Udogie, you know, they went off to loan and they came back. And then, you know, for Sarr, he's been drip fed into the team, but we're seeing what a player that he is. You know, we saw glimpses of the greatness and the energy and the tenacity that Sarr can bring. And then, you know, Udogie was just absolutely phenomenal. Again, another one we missed through injury. So with those examples, I could go through the whole team, but with those examples, I started to trust the scouts. I started to trust the recruitment policy, and I started to trust which players they were identifying were for the right reasons. They wasn't for opportunities. They wasn't, you know, oh, we can get Van der Ven. Do you want him? even though Van der Ven was phenomenal. But that was an opportunity signing. So we're not so much going off after opportunity signing. We're open to them, of course we are. But it's more about identifying the right profile, the right player. And when Postecoglou mentioned character as being an important factor in recruitment, I was really chuffed at hearing that, because it just means so much more. You know, don't just come for a Champions League. Don't just come for money. You know, we're here to work, fight, and go for glory. You know, and if you're up for that challenge, then that's why you should be here. I want players, and you want players, and every fan around the world wants players that want to be at Tottenham, to go and fight and kind of be united in this kind of quest for glory. So that's why I'm calmer. We've brought in some fantastic 18-year-olds. It's almost as if, you know, you're almost as if it's, you know, we've actually kind of emulating Borussia Dortmund here in kind of identifying those top young talents. You know, it's RB Leipzig now, but we've identified these top young talents, and they're looking good right now. But if they can kick on, you know, whatever they cost this season, they'll be double next season, and then it will double again. And by the time these boys are 21, they're probably £100 million players if it all goes well. You know, think about Mikey Moore. If he gets, I know we didn't, you know, he's come through the youth, but if he gets some game time this year, you know, he's already going to be worth minimum 20 mil next year, and then that's only going to keep rising. So there's quality and value and opportunity, and the ceiling is massive for these 18-year-olds. So I am absolutely chuffed to bits that they've come in. We bought experience last year. We have a bit of experience in the squad. Sonny, Bentancur, you know, and Romero. And last year we bought experience in Maddison, you know, and blended it with a bit of youth. And now we've got these youngsters, superstar youngsters that are coming through, that is kind of really well-rounded in the squad right now. We're also getting rid of the players and selling off the players, and sometimes giving away or letting their contracts run down, or giving them away to kind of clear the decks so that we can get in the right profiles and the right people in the right places. They're doing things right. It seems crazy because we haven't spent big money right now, but they are doing things right. When it comes down to the big signings, the big boys, the ones like Eze and et cetera, you know, they've all had international tournaments. There's been the Copa America, as we know. There's been the Euros, as we know. And they've had holidays as well. So, you know, there is that kind of, we can give them a little bit of leeway because of those things, but things definitely need to start cooking real soon. And I think the next transfers that we get in are going to be of that caliber that you're asking for. They're going to have some experience. They're going to have some know-how, but we're also going to have danger men, because that's what we need now, is danger men, those experienced danger men that can go there and change a game in an instant. So I'm calm right now.
Ricky, just some very quick questions from me. Just a simple yes or no, right?
All right, I'll try.
On the 1st of September, do you think that we will have Eze at Tottenham? Yes or no?
Yes.
What about Ivan Toney?
Yes.
You think we're going to sign both of them?
Yeah. I think we've got more than enough in the bank. I you know, not only do all those concerts come into play and those sporting events come into play, but we, you know, there's still some Harry Kane money there. You know,
so your expectation is very high.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I believe that they have cleared the decks and got certain high earners off of the wage bill first, which has been a problem in the past. And we know that because we've spoken about it so many times through so many transfer windows where it's been tough to get people out the door. They don't want to be there. We don't want them there, but they're going to stay and earn their money because that contract, nobody else is matching that contract, which is their right, you know. But at the same time, you know, you get a player that's unhappy, you get a manager that is doesn't want to play that player, and then there's this kind of limbo going on. Right now, we have been in the process for the last 3 years. You know, we have been on the process of kind of getting rid of that squad of players that we've had for so long. So they've done everything right. And I think that they have to go big now. And it's not about getting £100 million player, you know what I mean? But I think they're going to go big for their big targets. And I think they'll probably spend around like 150 mil on about 3 players. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I hope is going to happen.
You really are expecting big things. That's. I suppose you've answered my question. I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think that Postecoglou will find it different to what other managers have found it? When you look at Mauricio Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, to name 3, do you think that things are different? Things are going to be different under Ange? Do you get that sense? Do you get that feeling? Do you have that positivity going forward?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. I think everyone's enamored with Ange, and I think we've seen signs of backing. You know, he brought in two coaches this year. That's his backing. You know, that's his choices right there. You know, we've seen him invest in the players that he wants. You know, whether we agree on Brennan Johnson or not, you know, Johnson was one of Ange's picks last year, and we went out and we paid that money to go and get him. We have consistently, and it's only been a year, but we've consistently seen little kind of micro actions of backing, of signs that they believe in this player. And I think, and I hope, I really hope that the last 2 periods of time, the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and then the Poch era, I really hope that they've learned from that. You know, we all know the mistakes that happened during the Poch era. We all know where we was, and we all know where we could have gone with that investment, with that extra little push, with that backing. And the ship started to sink soon as he left, and as soon as they started going another way. Then they wanted to get win now managers, but didn't want to really pay win now prices. So there was moments of good times, but there was a lot of bad times. Then they've gone in different directions, and I think they've finally got to the point where they're like, they've identified a man that can play the brand of football first and foremost, and have a philosophy that aligns with the club throughout, from top to bottom, because you've seen that in the women's team. You've seen that they brought in a manager that plays the same style of football throughout the age groups. They're playing the same style of football, so that when they do come into the first team, it's an easier slot. So there's been a shift in philosophy. There's been a shift in the scouting network and what scouts that we get in, and how and where that they're based, and the analytics, the data. You know, they've brought in staff in various different positions to level us up to where we should be, where we should have been. So I'm looking at all of these little things, and I'm going, you know what, they've got this idea in mind with Postecoglou in charge. I think that this is going to be a new era where there is a clear and fair balance between and understanding between management and board and scouting and identifying and recruiting. There's no point in getting an opportunity right now, i.e. Dan Juma, when the manager don't want nothing to do with him. You know, there's no point. You're wasting your own money, and then they become the same problem that we've had in the past. So and they've ended up losing money because we've ended up letting certain players go because they haven't stepped up, and because there's been that limbo with that player. So right now, I from these little changes here and there, I have seen a backing, and I do have faith that they have a vision and they want to get somewhere, and they want to get somewhere with this man, and they trust him. So we're seeing that, and I think that these next 30 days are going to be massive for the club, for Ange, and for all of us fans going forward. There's going to be that big signing. There's going to be 2. I feel there's going to be 2 big signings and 1 surprise or something like that, you know, 1 firecracker that we haven't even spoken about yet. So I think they're going to show that they're about it this season. Just remember that Ange said last year he wants to challenge for the title this year. He wants to go for the Premiership this year. You know, he wants to evolve his play. And we've seen glimpses of the evolution of the system in pre-season. You know, even the way that they take corners was different, right? They're trying it. Sometimes it didn't come off, but they're trying it. And that's exciting, you know?
Well, of course, we know Andrew's called for patience. I know some fans don't like that word at all, and there has been a mixed reaction on that. Some people are staying calm, and some people are quite frustrated and angry, thinking it's going to go the same way that it has done for other managers. But like you said, Ricky, Andrew said on a number of occasions, not interested in fifth, fourth, third, or second. He wants to be number one, and I love that attitude. A number of comments we're going to get through now. Digger Old Mate said this feels more like a club rebuild than a team rebuild, and I think that is completely right. From what you've just said there, everything has changed. The management has changed, the academy staff has changed, lots of things off the pitch, on the pitch. It's all changed. Ange Postecoglou, I say this quite often, that in the last 12 months, so much has changed at the football club on and off the pitch. I think it's an incredible change. And of course, we've got into that European spot, but it is now about kicking on the club to that next level. And, all of us fans have been through it in the past X amount of seasons. When you think back about going to that Champions League final in 2019, the amount of managers, the amount of changes that we've seen at the football club, but hopefully these changes are for the better. Now, Jabberwocky writes here, I think Jamie Donnelly and Alfie Devine have been great. I hope that we have room for these two this year. Daniel on screen now, assuming Mikey Moore is going to be with the first team, who are the other two youth players that you have seen this pre-season who you'd like to see in the first team next season? I've said all along that I'd love to see Jamie Donnelly. And by the way, I've been raving about the development side, the under-21 side, for the last 12 months. And I was very surprised last season that Ange Postecoglou didn't introduce more of those players or on more occasions throughout that season, because, of course, we had so many injuries, as you've mentioned, had so many suspensions as well, and other issues and problems, players off on international duty. So Jamie Donnelly is one for sure. Ricky, I know I've asked you about the youth players on a number of occasions, but let's stick to the question from Daniel here. From what you've seen on pre-season, I don't want to cast my mind back to the last 12 months, because perhaps I'll be a little bit biased. But from what you've seen in the 3 pre-season games so far, who would you like to see in the first team setup more?
I really like the look of Lancashire. I think his stature, his frame, his dribble, his touch. He's had he scored a good goal in pre-season. But there's something kind of exciting about him. There's something a little bit unpredictable. There's something Kane-esque about him too. I think he's been fantastic. I've liked Donnelly. I've really liked to see more. More has actually kind of blew me away a little bit, because he has a lot of bravery and he's not afraid. He's always asking for the ball. He is always looking to do something dynamic. I think Tyrese Hall has done well. Like you say, Alfie Devine, there's been so much positive come from the youngsters. It's been lovely to see. Donnelly playing at left back, and as we spoke the other day, our left backs are inverted left backs, so they're mostly in attacking midfield anyway. So you saw that progression, and you saw him kind of, again being brave and not shirking away from responsibility in that position right there. But then when he got to be in attacking midfield as well the other day, and he got that great volley, I mean, it would have been a beautiful goal. But, there's something really exciting. And I said it the other day, and hopefully I can speak it into existence, but there's a feeling of a class of 92 here bubbling, and these boys have kind of won together throughout the ages. So they have a winning mentality. They know what it is to get over the line, so to speak. Yes, it's going to be a lot more difficult in the Premiership, but yeah, I think they've been fantastic. But it's about balance. It's about balance, Chris. For me. I've seen Tanganga. I've seen Carl Walker-Peters. Skippy is another one that have almost been, I don't know, wasted or been left to kind of, not really shine, left to kind of just kind of peter out a little bit.
You mentioned about the young players, the development players. I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely raving about it at the moment, because, for these youngsters to get the opportunity under Ange, Ange to say, well, show me what you can do. Every single development player in that squad, in that team that has featured in the last 3 games during pre-season, they have all grabbed their opportunity. Isn't that fantastic to see? Because, you know, when you think of the season that they've all had last year, even players like Phillips and Devine going out on loan to Plymouth, of course, they've come back. They're very used to playing every minute of every game. Then they come back and, you know, everyone has taken their opportunity. It is really fantastic to see. And I think it's going to be a really good problem for a manager like Ange Postecoglou to then think, because you only have a certain amount of places on the sub bench. So some of these players are going to have to go back to the under-21 squad, or some of these players are going to be knocking on the door and saying, I want to play. And if they're not going to play, perhaps they'll go out on loan. But how impressed have you been by this group of players? I was very lucky enough to bump into Wayne Burnett yesterday at the under-21 game. And of course, the under-21s are now missing those players because they're in Japan and South Korea. So a number of the under-18 players have now stepped up to the under-21s. And it's great to see as well. And as I mentioned that to him, and he mentioned it to me, that now they're stepping up to the next level. So it's like a domino effect of everyone stepping up. And I tell you what, it's really great to see the progression of some of these players.
I mean, how exciting must it be for some of those 16-year-olds in the club to see those players, Donnelly, Tyrese, the lot of them, to see those players actually get this opportunity right now. It's very encouraging. And we've spoken about pathways before, but it's very encouraging for those youngsters. So it only boosts them to step up. It only kind of, it gives them extra fire to step up. But there has to be balance. There has to be balance. Absolutely. If we need to have a couple around the squad that definitely get game time. You can see, again, they've taken their chance. But definitely if they're not getting the games, then you have to give them game time. You have to give them proper football. Do you know what I mean? You've got to send them out on loan and get them good loans with managers that play similar style football, so that they don't drop off. They stay in that flow. But yeah, there definitely has to be balance. And also, Chris, as you were talking there about these youngsters stepping up, I actually remember we was at it might have been I want to say it was a Europa game or it was a Conference League game. I can't remember which one it was, but basically we played the second team. It was Lucas Moura ended up coming on and saving us, but we ended up playing the second team. And, we were there. Yeah, we were there. It was me and you together, and we ended up playing the second team. It was probably Mura. And we was playing the second team, and because we've said this many a time, me and you, but like we had said, this is all we ever want to see, is those boys that are not getting the games. When they do get the chance, go grab it. Grab it, man. Go plant your spear in the sand and say, this is my spot, or go challenge at least. Don't make it easy for the manager to be like, oh yeah, well, okay, you're on the bench next week, mate. Do you know what I mean? And we saw that time in and time out. So when it comes down to rotation, when we get into the season, I believe the way that these boys have started, whoever comes in, they're going to go out there to grab their chance, and that's exciting.
Yeah. For those of you who just joined us, please do get your comments and your questions in, and Ricky and I will answer as many as possible. C-Max says here, sign Tony. Wesley B writes here, I think we'll end up with Tony. Ricky, as much as you think we're going to get Tony and you want Tony at the club, do you think Ange Postecoglou wants him? Does he fit the Ange Postecoglou system, the Ange Postecoglou way? Does he fit Ange ball? And the type of person he is, do you think he fits what Tottenham Hotspur are after? Bearing in mind he had all of the betting scandal.
Yeah, we obviously know about the betting scandal, and he also done an interview on Diary of a CEO as well, and there were clips that were taken out of that, and it just didn't sound positive, and Tony's been on a ban as well, so you never know. This guy might have kind of had reflections on life and his actions, and you can make a mistake in life, but it's up to you to kind of recognize that mistake, admit that mistake, and then put it right. Don't make that mistake again. If you make that mistake again, then it's a habit and it's a personality trait. But if you can recognize a mistake and then change that and learn from it, That's what humans do. That's what we do. You know, when we was kids, our mum told us, don't touch the heater, it's hot. But every single one of us kids touched the heater. And it was like, and then your mum would be like, yeah, I told you it was hot. But all of us make mistakes. But it's about learning. And it's about giving people an opportunity to change, giving people an opportunity to make mistakes in life, and then allow them the space to show us that they're doing different, or to show us that there is change, or to show us that they see the error of their ways, you know. And if that's happened, then he will be brought in. But one thing I can 99% guarantee you is that if he don't step up to, or tick off the Ange Postecoglou list of traits that you need to be a Tottenham player, he won't be there. Simple as that. He won't be there. So if he does get signed, then he has ticked a lot of those boxes on that form, and the rest of the boxes that are unchecked, Ange will believe that he can change that, you know, and then he will be signed. But if he doesn't, then he won't be signed, and we'll go for somebody else. Personally, I like the guy from Porto, Gyökeres. He's going to be a very, you know, expensive player, but again, we've got that money in the bank there. So if you can get somebody who is ideal for your system, and, you know, Andrew's number one pick, then go out and get him.
I was going to say you get what you pay for, but that's not actually necessarily true.
True.
I'll be honest with you, Ricky.
Ask Ndombele.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest. I'd be surprised if we signed Ivan Toney. For lots of reasons. Yeah, I'll be surprised.
Tell me what's your feeling? Because I did have, when we was first linked with him, I did have that thing about, well, maybe his character is not going to gel with Ange, and maybe there'll be some things there in between.
Yeah.
But go on.
Yeah, I think the character is an issue. I think the whole betting scandal is an issue. I think his age would be an issue, because Ange wants young players. It's so obvious that he's building a team for the future. And I think that the money that Brentford are after, I think that will be an issue as well. And I don't think the club, I don't feel that the club will want to pay the sort of money that they want, even if it was as low as £30 million. I can't see, you know, I'd be surprised that Spurs would want to pay that money for someone like him. However, for me personally, as I said on this podcast before, I've completely changed my mind. You know, having seen him at Euro 2024, before that tournament, I would have said, no, I probably don't want him at the club. But I would actually like to see him in a Spurs shirt, but I just can't see it happening. I just can't see that one getting over the line. I think that we will go for someone completely different, and it will probably be someone that we probably don't know too much about. And like you said earlier, there's nothing wrong with that, because Van der Ven, he played 30 odd games for Wolfsburg, 30 odd games, competitive competition, and we have a defender like that. Incredible. So it is all about the scouting, the targeting, the recruitment. It must be top notch. It has been in Ange's 2 windows so far, and that must continue, in my opinion. But you know, I think that we will probably be surprised by some of the signings, because they may be, you know, guys that come in that we don't know a lot about. So yeah, watch this space.
But also, I think I know you're saying there about the age, right? But we've spoken about transfers so many times, right?
It's not a problem for me. I think for the club, though.
No, but us on the pod, right? So it's like we bring in some 18-year-olds, but then maybe the balance would be to bring in somebody. I'm just putting it out there for balance, that to get somebody of 28 who's got Premier League experience and can do all the things that you're asking him to do.
Yeah.
Maybe there can be balance there. Do you know what I mean? Maybe for 2 seasons, if he can get you up there. I'm just saying for balance.
But Ricky, but the other thing that I think about is that Ange Postecoglou and the club, they like good role models. Mm-hmm. And I think that they probably have an issue with someone like him not being that role model that they want.
Yeah, makes sense. But again, just on the redemption story, again, you know, if somebody can kind of redeem themselves from the mistakes that they've made, that's also a good example to humanity, because not all of us are perfect in life. Not all of us are going to make the right decisions. You know, sometimes you have to make a wrong. Yeah, you got to make a wrong decision in life to kind of go, oh my gosh, that's not the road I want to go down. Do you know what I mean? So just for balance.
Exactly right. Ricky, a couple of light-hearted ones here. Melvin says, can you tell the Watford story again?
Gosh.
I never get sick of hearing it. I tell you, if you are going to tell it, You need to keep this to 30 seconds.
No. Listen. I think everybody's bored of that story. But what likes are you on right now? What likes?
I can't
what
see.
like number are you?
I can't see, but we've got 1,600 people watching at the moment. So please do get your comments in, and if you'd like to ask me or Ricky anything, please do put it in the stream right now. Another one for you here, Ricky. You're going in the jungle this year. I always ask you, don't know, what reality shows are you doing? What reality shows have been offered?
No jungle for me. No jungle for me.
You don't fancy eating a scorpion?
No, it's just not. It's just not a show that I don't think I can do that. And I've had friends that are in it as well. And when you speak to them, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I just know, my friend Danielle, who played Lola in EastEnders.
Yeah. She
at one point, one of her challenges was to come off the end of a building. It was one of the tallest buildings. You had to come off the end of a building. Shimmy down on your rope. What was it called? I can't remember. But shimmy down on your rope, and then you had to like crawl out on a pole that was kind of protruding from the building, and you had to go to the end of that pole and then pick up a star or something, and then crawl back, and then right. So technically, right, that's no bugs. That's no slime. That's no fish. That's no spiders. That's no crocodiles. That's no lions. It's nothing, right? Technically, I should be able to do that, but there is no way. There's no way. So I just know that it's not the show for me. I'd probably be very upset, angry, and swearing a lot on there. And yeah, I don't think that.
You know what? In all seriousness, because you've done Dancing on Ice, what about Strictly Come Dancing?
Yeah, Strictly, I would happily do the. So I was lucky enough to do a Christmas version of it, which was just one dance over the Christmas period years ago now, and it was a fantastic experience. I started off in street dance, so I had never done ballroom or anything like that, but I started off in street dance. So dance has always been a love and a passion that I've had. So just to get back into the studio and do the choreography and learn new styles and learn new techniques was. It was awesome. So yeah, I'd probably do Strictly. I think Strictly could be fun.
Ricky, we come on to talk about Jed Spence. Gavin writes here, let's talk Spence. We had quite a few comments. Callum, I know I've seen a couple of comments from you, so apologies. Ricky talks for England here. Ivor also says Spence for the first team. Mike Chase says, Chris, would you consider a job on TalkSport? They wouldn't have me on there, and plus I'd clash too much with Gabby Bonmore. Ricky, let's talk about Jed Spence, because it's fair to say I don't think a lot of us thought that we'd ever see him in a Spurs shirt. He was so close to joining Genoa, who of course he spent on a time on loan there, but Spurs didn't want to reduce the fee. He's now back in a Spurs shirt. He's another player taken his opportunity, came on against Hearts and of course QPR. What have you made of Jed Spence? What do you think the future holds for Jed Spence? Would you like to see him get another chance under Postecoglou in the Premier League?
Spence has been one of the most impressive players that I've seen on pre-season. Every time he's come on, he's affected the game. I love the way that he runs. I know that sounds crazy, but there's sometimes where the ball's away from him and almost within one step, he's almost there. Do you know what I mean? And it's a run, but it looks like a step. And he uses his body. He's got good creativity. He can attack as well as defend. I think the loan out to Genoa done him good. I heard Melvin saying on the stream that, in Italy, they've kind of got the school of defending on lockdown, and they kind of really drill in certain aspects of defending and really teach you about defending. So I think that I'd probably set him in good stead. And maybe the time away. Okay, so we know. Oh, I say we know. We don't know anything. We only know what we're told, right? So from reports from previous managers that he's been on loan at, clubs that he's been on loan at, we've heard basically kind of like attitude, sometimes lateness, and I think basically a lack of professionalism. I think basically some of the reports. I might not have all of that right, and that was what was worrying, and especially with a manager like Postecoglou. But I often think, especially with young ones, right? With young people, they're thrust into the limelight. they're doing what they love. There's bundles of money, there's bundles of attention, there's bundles of distractions, and sometimes, you know, you're still that person that grew up on that house on the estate. Do you know what I mean? Or so there's loads of different things going on around you, and I don't think we'll ever know until he brings out a book in like 20 years time or something like that. But I'd love to know what the actual stories were and what the circumstances were around it. And we don't know whether there were family problems or friend problems or, you know, just life problems that were happening around him that affected him in a way that almost maybe stopped him caring about the game so much. But going out to Italy and kind of being away from all of those things, maybe he's had time to kind of really assess what he wants from his own career, like what glory he wants from his own career. Like, instead of being shipped off and loaned off and kind of left, right, and center, hopefully he has kind of realized to make it in this world, you've got to put everything in. And maybe he's learned those mistakes, and maybe, you know, even just the fact that he's getting game time right now kind of says to me that Ange thinks he's got the right attitude at this time. Do you know what I mean? That he's showing the right attitude. Maybe he hasn't kind of passed the finish line of the Ange inspection, but he's definitely, every day that he's there, he's definitely showing more and more and more. And even in some of the videos and the clips that we've seen him smiling, we've seen him involved, we've seen him joking, we've seen him working hard. So fingers crossed, man, because he's a dynamite player. When we signed him, when we saw him from, you know, he was on loan at Middlesbrough, I think it was. He was dynamite, and we were all calling his name during the Conte period because, you know, we had a dynamite wing back there, but he wasn't getting no game time and no chances. Even when we had no right backs left, he still wasn't getting no love. So fingers crossed, he's gone out to Italy and really kind of assessed his options and assessed his life and kind of got rid of the distractions, got rid of those things that were holding him back, and he's fully focused on the job and kind of giving everything to the game. And fingers crossed he can be that number 2 right back that's challenging Porro, because this inverted system is perfect for someone like Spence. It's perfect. He also gives us an aerial presence as well. There's strength, there's speed, there's dribbling, there's creativity, he's got a good shot on him. So if he could knuckle down and just kind of give everything for the cause, then it could be really exciting for him. So fingers crossed for him. I hope that he stays with us. I hope that he grows with us. I'm kind of happy Genoa didn't take up the option.
For me personally, I wouldn't be surprised if he was sold. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed.
It's Spurs. It's Spurs.
It's about him taking the opportunity, being consistent, and proving and showing Ange exactly what he can do. And it's up to him. He's future now. It's up to him what happens next. So you know, take that opportunity like the youngsters have been. A couple of quick ones here, Ricky. John says, "Would you sell Bentancur?" For me personally, no, I wouldn't. And also, let's do this quick one as well. Jan writes here, where will Eze fit in to this team if we signed him?
Would I sell Bentancur? No. I think Ange's kind of got Bentancur, Basuma, and Archie Gray in the idea of that number 6. But if you look at the midfield has been rotating within game. So I think everybody's kind of played the 6 role, and everything's gonna be. Everyone's played the 6 role, the 8, and the 10. So I think we're keeping him. I wouldn't sell him. Where would Eze fit in? He would probably fit in one of those 8s or on the wing. But I think he's definitely there as an attacker and some. You know where Cooley was playing last year when he was in that kind of 10/8 position. I think it would probably be there alongside Maddison, or like I say, right side wing, you know, either wing. Let Sonny rotate, but yeah, that's how I think he's going to be playing.
When you use that term rotate there, because it's fair to say that the players that have come in under Ange Postecoglou and the players that we seem to always be targeting, they always seem to be very versatile, that can play in a number of different positions. So I definitely wouldn't worry about, you know, players coming in where they're going to fit in, because Ange will make it work. Ricky, a comment here. Now, of course, Ange Postecoglou used the word patient and patience the other day. Once a Night writes here, a project requires time. Some people have been very vocal about this online in the last couple of days, saying that, we've waited a very long time. A Quality Piece wrote a comment yesterday, I think it was. We've been patient for 20 years. Where are the marquee signings? Please tell me that we're not going to go into the new season with what we've got so far. The last marquee signing for you, who was it? And the last signing for you, who did you really get excited by and you were wowed thinking, oh my God, they have come to Tottenham?
Wow. Okay. Ndombele. When we signed Ndombele for that big money, he had a dynamite season the year before. I thought selling Dembele in January, I still think that was a mistake. But
yeah,
I think when we let him go, I thought, Ndombele is like almost a perfect replacement. Not only can he, dribble, hold the ball, but he's again explosive. He can score. He could be like the best midfielder in the league. And obviously that didn't happen. However many times I tried to, give him chances and kind of look at the excuses and reasons around it. Yeah, it just didn't happen. So that was one that I was really excited about, but then really disappointed about. And then the second question, Chris, was
about the marquee signings. Who did you really get excited about, and what do you think will happen next?
So for me, the last player that I got really excited about, apart from those that apart from this transfer window, I think it was Bissouma. When Bissouma came in, he, again, another one that had a fantastic season at Brighton. I thought that he could really kind of change the way that we play and be that number 6 that can do it all. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen flashes of that. I think the red card for him last year at, I want to say, was it Luton or where is it? I think it was Luton. I think that really, really hit him in his stomach. I think he had a massive kind of confidence shake at that point, because before that he was flying, short passes, mid-range passes, long passes, dribbles, driving the ball from defense to attack, shots. There were or creating, the opportunity for a shot. There was a lot going on, and then he had that red card, and then it really did kind of dip. I think his confidence kind of dropped to that point, and then obviously internationals and illness, and he just never got that rhythm back. So I think, he was definitely the last one that I was really excited about. When it comes down to marquee signing, even though we didn't spend crazy money on him, what do I think is going to happen? I really truly believe that we've cleared the decks and we've got certain wages off of the bill, and we're starting to build a squad in Ange's image. And what I think they're doing is they're almost building the cake from the bottom up. Do you know what I mean? And the last couple of cherries on the top of them are going to be those marquee signings, are going to be those big boys that are going to kind of have the effect that we all want and kind of make that statement that we all want in the transfer market and for our club.
Ricky, this is an interesting one. DL writes now, would you sell Kulusevski and buy Eze? So if it meant that we got Eze, would you sell Kulusevski?
What? Wait. Ask the question again.
So I think what he's saying here is...
Yes. Would I sell Kulu to buy Eze? Would I sell Kulu to buy Eze? That's a tough one, That's a tough one. There were times, and there was a moment last season when we played Palace at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think Eze scored a free kick, which was dynamite, but the majority of the game, he didn't really have that much effect. And I think that was to do with the way that we were playing and marshalling him, but he didn't have that much of an effect. But I've seen some genius from Eze. Eze's the unknown. And I think Kulu is... I love Kulu to bits. I still don't think we've seen the best of him. I still don't think he's played in the position that we're going to see the best from him as yet. He's still young, and I really do think that there's a really good player in Kulu. So that's a really tough question. Would I sell him though? Probably not. I know that's crazy, right? Probably not.
Don't believe you.
Oh, I don't know. It's because Kulu's part of, Kulu's Tottenham, so I love him already. So it's tough to say.
I love doing these shows, and to all of the listeners and the viewers, please do keep getting your questions in, because I love asking Ricky. I know he's taken a long while to answer them all, but we're getting there. We're getting through them.
You knew what you signed up for when you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Chris says here, and I completely agree with Chris, by the way. Nice name, by the way. No, we'll have both. And Matthew says, Sarr swap for Eze. We've started a trend here.
No. Sarr is another one that is going to be a dynamite midfielder. I think that, again, I think, again, like, he's another one. I love my players. I'm sorry. But yes, I'm with the other guy that was like, get them both. The only thing that I would do with Kulu, right? The only time that I would get rid of him or swap him, because I saw that link with Napoli, right? So I would kind of go, all right, Kulu's worth 50 million, take 50 million off Osherman, give us him for 40, 50 million, and that's a deal. That's a massive upgrade. If you're going to do something like that, a massive upgrade, then I'd take it. But nah, I love my players too much, Chris. I can't help it.
Ricky, as you know, we've been linked with so many players, and every single transfer window, we are linked with hundreds and thousands of players. And something I've never done actually before, in all the 60-second updates that I do, perhaps I should list all of the players throughout that transfer window. I reckon it will be absolutely huge. But Jay Dennis writes here, who would you consider a statement signing this year? Who for you?
Who for
everyone?
You first? Oh, man. For me, someone like Gyökeres or someone like Osherman would be a massive statement. I think that we're going to make a statement. I don't know if we're going to make a massive. And yeah, Williams would be fantastic. I love Nico Williams. I love his brother. I've wanted his brother at Tottenham for ages, Inaki. I think he's another one who's dynamite. But yeah, he's getting a bit on right now. But yeah, I think it's of that class. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be like an Eze, a Gyökeres, Osherman, a Vlahovic, somebody like that. Somebody that is really going to change the way for us. And I think that's a statement signing, and I think that they're going to make a statement. I think if we go for Tony, the only thing that kind of holds him back from being a statement, I suppose, is his age, maybe. But getting Eze and Tony, that's a massive statement. Do you know what I mean? If you can do something like that, that's massive. And that's what I think. I think the 3 players or 4 players, because we're going to need a backup left back. We haven't spoken about that yet. But the 3 players that combined, I think that's going to be the massive statement.
Ricky, we haven't spoken about it yet because there's no script. There's no script on these shows. It's what the viewers and the listeners want us to talk about.
That's right.
Premier Hotspur TV, evening, Chris and Ricky. Have you guys any update on the takeover talks? And Coys118 says, is Levy finally going? Now, Ricky, you would have seen the Times newspaper stated that Spurs want to sell 10% of the club. And the club will be valued at between 3.5 and 3.75 billion pounds. What do you make of this? Because I think it's fair to say that Daniel Levy and the board are not going to go anywhere. They've still got many projects to complete and many things that they are still working on. Would it bother you by somebody else coming in and buying 10% stake at Tottenham Hotspur if they're injecting a large amount of cash, and we know that cash is then going to go on things like player transfers, because the Times actually said it was going to be for player transfers, it was going to be for an academy for the women's side, and also to help build this 30-story hotel next to the stadium?
I mean, it's exciting, right? It's exciting. I mean, you can look at what's happening at Man United with Ineos and stuff like that. They came in and they bought, I don't know how much percentage, but it's something similar. And they've come in and done something like that. So, extra investment could be exciting. Do I see Levy and the board and going anywhere anytime soon? Not really. And the only reason I say that is the amount of times that we have had talks about potential takeovers or, potential sale of the club and stuff like that. We've had many talks and it's just never happened. I think that Levy and the ENIC group, is it still ENIC now that Lewis has left? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But
it is.
Still ENIC?
But I'll be honest with Ricky. When I did the Tottenham news video Saturday night, I actually said in my summary, I don't feel like this is fresh news. We know that Daniel Levy is always looking for investors. We know that he is always looking for investment in the football club. I think that those deals are going to be very difficult to get done, and anything that Spurs price seem to be very difficult, and they want top dollar for it. It's probably not new news, is it?
No, it's not. But at the same time, if it does happen, then you know that Levy's got a dynamite deal, and it's going to help, and it's going to push us forward. So if it happens, fantastic. I just don't see it happening because of history. Do you know what I mean? If they can come up with that type of money that makes everybody smile, then there could be great benefits that come from it. And it's only a small stake. 10% is only a small stake. So I just don't see Levy and the board and the ENIC group going anywhere anytime soon. I can see them selling off a percentage, but I can't see them kind of going anywhere soon because, like you said, they've still got things that they want to do.
Ricky, Eddie22 wrote on one of the videos yesterday, I don't believe a word that Poster no clue says.
Well, that's okay. I mean, if you don't believe it, you don't believe it. I think that, again, like I said, if you're a true fan and you love your club and you feel that way strongly, then okay. But you know what? Like we've had much worse. We've had much worse. I think sometimes memories are short, and it was only a little while ago that whole meltdown happened with Conte, and we had another caretaker manager in Mason, and we had Nuno before that, and then Mourinho before that, and think about the feel of the place. Think about the energy of the place. It was so low. It was so low. I hated watching games at times. There was times that I watched it like this. There was times that I wanted to fall asleep half the time. And the only reason that I didn't turn it off was because I was on a pod with you straight afterwards. So I continued to watch. But there were times that it was sinking. You could see that the players had enough of certain things. And the energy was so low before Ange came in. When he came in, we know that he had 101 problems to fix, and he went to work straight away to try and fix them. And he's done a good job so far. I think we need to be behind the manager. I think the manager, not only is he shifting the ideas of the club, the board, and those players and the staff that he has, but a little bit by little bit, we have to change with him too. We've got to realize that he's going to play his tactic, he's going to play his way, and it's going to be front-footed, and it's going to be exciting. And it's going to have lots of goals in it. And it's going to be a style of football that we're going to enjoy and we're going to cheer on. But there are going to be problems along the way. There are going to be bumps in the road. Everybody has a fall. Everybody has a dip. It's how we react to it. And if he's got a squad of players that are all connected, united, and, and all see football the same way, then that's got to be a recipe for a success, and that's got to be a recipe for glory, and that's something that I can get behind. There were so many times in the past before Ange just turned up that we've been a rudderless ship with no sat nav and no steering wheel. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody knew what direction we was going in, and little bit by little bit, you can see what Ange wants to do, and his morals and his philosophies and his kind of temperament are all things that endear him to me. They're all they're things that give me hope. They're things that I can, the things that he's spoken about, character, etc. And a lot of the interviews that he's had, he seems like a person I can get behind and kind of support through the good and the bad, because I believe that what he's doing he's going to be successful in the end.
Ricky, also, Craig Wapshot writes here, not looking forward to this season at all. There's quite a few comments like that, where people are worried about what's going to happen in this transfer window. The only thing that I would, for me personally, would say is the fact that I think we do need to give this manager patience. I know that some people are extremely unhappy with what's happened at the club in the last 20 odd years. And of course, we all talk about trophies or the lack of them. The last trophy that we won, 2008, is such a long time, 16 plus years. But Dan writes here, back the manager, support the team, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I think that's all we can do. Get behind the manager, get behind the team, because as Ricky has said, as I've said on various occasions through the last 12 months, that since Ange has come in, the club has changed dramatically in the last 12 months. So hopefully that does continue. United Spurs of America says here, enjoyed seeing all of the new faces lately, Chris. Big up for bringing in more creators. You guys are always very welcome on this channel. If anyone wants to appear on the Spurs Chat podcast, please do send me an email. It is tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. And also get your comments in now, and Ricky and I will answer as many of them as possible. Ricky, let's go for another one. The soldier writes here, Chris, you're making excuses for the club. Others are making signings. Other teams are making signings, and the soldier thinks that I'm making excuses for the club. I suppose, on this channel, I've never been one to shout, swear, jump up and down, raving, blah, blah, blah. I'm just not that sort of guy. And a lot of the people that we have on the podcast, we have one or two that occasionally come on and do that. We've had Gary Maloney come on, effing and blinding sometimes about defeats and about the way that we've played and about the way that the club has been run or decisions or whatever. We've had a few people on like that. I'm not that type of guy. I think that I'm quite balanced and, see things for what they are and try and look at things from all views. And I think that Ricky's very much the same. But Ricky, let's answer or get to this point. Other clubs are making signings. I know exactly what the soldier means here, because when you look at someone like Aston Villa, who finished, pipped us to the Champions League spot, they finished fourth, we finished fifth in the Premier League table. They've just signed Onana, a statement signing for them, really decent player. What would you say to the doubters, the people that are doubting what Spurs are doing and looking at what others are doing instead?
The window's still open. The window's still open. Sometimes there's so many factors about a transfer that we don't understand. Sometimes the selling club wants to get a replacement before he lets that player go. Sometimes it's to do with the timing of his last contract. There's loads of little things that can delay a transfer. Paul O'Keefe came out with a tweet the other day that said we've got 3 kind of ready to go, but it's mostly to do with the other club right now. So stay patient, man. Stay patient. I mean, look at last season when it came down to Raya, the Brentford goalkeeper. Yeah. Brentford wanted 40 mil for him, and all of us were going crazy, going just pay it. And we was there. I'm with it. Like, we could see it when they played us that season. I think it was right towards the end of the season, that what a player Raya could be, And then he ends up going, when he does finally make that transfer, he ends up going on loan, and then for a fraction of the price. I think it was like 26, 27 mil from 40 mil. So there is a negotiation thing, there is a back and forth, and some clubs will try it, they'll try their luck, and we got to be patient. They're playing chess right now. They're playing chess. Sometimes it's not just about paying the money. There's been many times that I've said pay the money. There's many times we've all said it, and sometimes we've done it and got players in, and Ndombele, Lo Celso, sometimes we've brought them in and it still hasn't worked. So it's a game of chess. What I'm saying right now is that I'm trusting the way that they identify a player, the data analysis, the scouts that we've got, and the profile of player that we want. I'm trusting that. And we've got 30 days. They've got 30 days to prove me right or to prove me wrong. But I'm not panicking right now whatsoever. But I totally get why there's worry out there. I've been there. I've done it. Yeah. I've stressed all day. I've scrolled and kind of refreshed Fabrizio Romano's feed, and then I've gone to your feed, and I'm like, is there anything? Do you know what I mean? I've done it 27 times a day. I love this club. I'm obsessed with it. I read everything. but I just take things with a pinch of salt right now. I don't see anything as set in stone. If we're interested in them, yeah, great, but guaranteed the quality of player that we're interested in, there's going to be 3, 4, 5 clubs that of high quality too that are also interested in that player. And there's loads of factors that go into a player choosing us over other clubs or vice versa, So I'm patient. Let's carry on playing chess. It's okay. I believe that they will get over the line, and I believe that we will all be happy by the time, the window shuts.
Ricky, let me ask you this, and to try and add a bit of balance to this show, I want to ask you a question. If Spurs didn't sign anyone, and the season started, with exactly what we've got now, how would you feel?
I think there's uproar. I think that we've got a good squad. I think we've got one of the most exciting back fives when all fit. And there is a good squad there, but we know where the gaps are. And there's no excuse not to fill those gaps. There's no excuse. The money's in the bank. We've got the stadium. We've got European football. We've got the manager. We've got a good mix of youth and experience in the side right now. All we need are those danger men. All we need are those last diamonds in this squad to take us forward. So if there was nothing that happened, there would be uproar, and I would be happy about it. Absolutely not. But I would still back the boys that are there, that are putting on the shirt every single game, because that's what I do. Win, lose or draw, come on you Spurs. Do you know what I mean? I'm always going to back who's actually stepping up to the plate, who actually is wearing that shirt, and put my attention on the ones that are wearing it and not the ones that didn't want to even look at it in the first place. So that's where I keep myself centered. But listen, all the positivity that I give sometimes, and the balanced views and stuff. There's times on this show that I've lost it. There's times that I've lost my head on a result or on a manager or on the board. I've done it myself, but sometimes letting it all out like that and then stepping back and then looking at all of the things, I didn't try and let that shade the judgment of the changes that were happening. I looked at the changes as individual. And when we speak about patience as well, we've got 20 years of baggage that we're carrying as fans. But Ange has only been here a year. So, let's drop some of those bags. When he's asking for patience, he's not asking for patience for another 20 years. What he's asking for is patience during this window. Do you know what I mean? That's what he means by what he's saying. He's like, just give us a bit of time. The window's not shut. Just be patient with us. Don't panic, is what he's saying. He's not saying you don't have reason to panic. He's not saying don't look at those last 20 years. He's just saying, give me this moment in time instead of carrying everything with me,
Ricky Osvaldo 72 says, happy clappers, Ricky and Chris.
Yeah. I'll happy clap all day long, man. I love my team. I can't help it. And, like those that have different opinions to us, and some feel differently and say things differently, I respect you, man. You're right in your opinion. I just have a different way of looking at things.
Well, do you know what? I feel like that is a bit personal, because you and I are quite positive people.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'll clap all day long. I'll clap all day long, bruv. All day long. I can't help it. There are times. How many times have we had a conversation where we've been, not positive? We've been down. We've had those down discussions as well. We've done that. But I just like to try and. I can't live in that energy, basically. Like me personally, I can't live in that energy. So with the team that I love, and I support them through thick and thin. You know what I mean? I'm a supporter. I don't just sing when they're winning. I always get up and sing when we're 4-0 down, and come on boys, let's go, pick it up. We can do something here. I'm that guy. So if it's described as happy clapping, okay, fine. I mean, I personally don't take offense to it. I stand by it. I stand by it, and the way that I try and see things and the way that I look at things, rather than just looking at a negative headline or somebody shouting and screaming, which is easy to kind of take and it's easy to go with. Sometimes it's harder to try and see the positive, or sometimes it's harder to see through the clouds of where we're really going. And if that's described as happy clapping, that's all good, man. I'm fine with it.
I always love Paddy's sarcasm here. Ricky and Chris, can you be more miserable, please? Thank you. Yeah, perhaps we'll both work on that for next season.
Yeah.
Ricky, let's get into another comment here from Mendes Best. Writes, we need Destiny Doggy back fast. Ben Davies can't play in this system. Now, of course, last week, it was the anniversary of Ben Davies being at the club for 10 years. Are you surprised that Ben Davies has been at the club for 10 years? Because he is so well thought of and has been by various managers that he has played for at the club for 10 years. But can he play in this system? And it looks like he's going to, be at the club for yet another season when the 2024-2025 campaign starts. Where does Ben Davies fit in this squad, in this team?
I think Ben Davies is a good experienced backup right now. Backup for the left-sided centre-back, but I don't think he's the immediate backup for Van der Ven, for instance. I think he would be like the third choice, in that left centre-back position. And I think that he'd probably be third choice of a left-back position as well, because I've got a feeling that we're going to bring in another left back to compete, but to also rotate with Udogie, because we saw how much we missed him as well. But yes, I think he's an experienced backup player. You've got to love Ben Davies. And like you said there, I think the fact that so many managers have come out and trusted him and giving him a go, giving him a try, and he really rarely lets you down. He's always been there for the cause, and he's always kind of given everything. And sometimes that might not be Ginola or Bale-esque, but he gives everything that he's got for us, and I appreciate that as a fan.
Rick, sorry for interrupting. I thought I'd just share this comment. Rich writes here, Davies is an expensive cheerleader. Is that harsh?
Well, I don't know. I mean, come on. He's a good guy, but I do think that he's probably going to stick around as long as Sonny's going to stick around. I've got a feeling that he'll be here for another 1-2 seasons, probably, just because them two are the last standing guys. Them two are really good friends, and so that's why I think he'll be sticking around. But I think he's going to be, again, what he's going to do, what Ben Davies does, is be a good professional, put everything out there, and play the role that he's asked to play by the manager when called upon. It's really kind of tough to have players that have that mentality to be able to do that. Jump in when called upon, jump in to save the day because we're out of defenders and we're out of left backs. But he steps up and he's there, and he loves the club and he loves the shirt. And he loves all of us fans, even though, we're always kind of so-so on Ben Davies. But we've got the upgrades. We've got the upgrades on Ben Davies. Ben Davies he'll get game time, when everything's kind of not working right. When we've got injuries, a ton of injuries and stuff like that, or at the end of games, and when he's needed. But I think he's going to be a good squad player. I don't know whether a cheerleader. I think cheerleader is a bit harsh, but I get what he's saying.
Paul writes here, what do you make of the Brian Hill situation? I'll be honest, I think it's a good move for the club, and I think it's a good move for him. I think Brian Hill is a great player, just not in the Premier League. And I think by Spurs offering him or giving him a brand new contract with that release clause of 15 million euros, I think it makes it extremely easy for Girona or another club to then just say, here's the 15 million euros, the deal has been done. It makes it extremely easy. Ricky, what have you made of Brian Hill in a Spurs shirt? Because I feel like he's got so much potential. And when you think about it, that we gave Eric Lamela away and we paid that a hefty fee for him, and losing Lamela, he was meant to be one of those, signings, for the future, one of the stars for the future, a top European talent. It just hasn't worked out, has it?
It's not worked out as yet for him, not in the Premier League, not in the rough and tumble, in the high pace play in the Premier League. It hasn't really worked out for him. And it's a shame, because he does look like a dynamite player. He does look like somebody who could be like, somebody really dynamic, somebody almost, I'll say it because he's in Girona, but almost like Messi, like the way in which he dribbles and stuff like that. But the fact that he got knocked off the ball so easily, the fact that he wasn't as effective on the game as we would all have liked him to be, and the money that he's going for is really cheap considering how much we paid for him as well. I hope that there is a sell-on clause in there as well, because I think that's where you're making your money now as a Premier League club, is in those sell-on clauses. You know, let them go for a small fee to the clubs because the other clubs outside of the Premier League haven't got that much money. But definitely chuck in that sell-on clause, because when the big boys come calling, if he's successful, then you know you can kind of get paid a bit later and get that money back for him. Let's see. I wish him all the best at Girona. It's a good club. They're playing good football. I think they're in the Champions League. So yeah, he's going to get a lot of football there. Fingers crossed for him. And good luck. It's unfortunate it didn't work out at Tottenham.
Yeah. Ricky, Mark Tyan writes here, Sessegnon will play 30 plus games this season for Fulham. Of course, he's been
FIFA.
released by...
On
Sorry?
FIFA. On FIFA.
Of course, he was released by Spurs. He's now back in the Premier League again with Fulham, his previous club that we signed him from in 2019. I feel sorry for Sessegnon, and when a player, has that many injury problems, that many injury issues, and then has to go on social media and basically say, "Please don't abuse me by, I'm injured. I'm sorry. I want to play. I'm a professional footballer. I want to play football. I want to do what I love." He got a lot of abuse. He's still getting abuse from Spurs fans a lot of the time, because now he's signed for Fulham, and Spurs fans are saying, a few have said good luck, but the majority have said, he's going to be injured. He'll be injured even before he goes into the training ground. What do you make of Ryan Sessegnon overall in a Spurs shirt? Because sometimes people are just unlucky, and I feel like he has been extremely unlucky, and still very young, by the way.
Yeah, no, agreed. Tremendously unlucky. I mean, when he wakes up in the morning and he puts his foot down on the floor to, put his feet in his slippers, he probably slips some banana peels as well, and just kind of, he's that unlucky, the poor fella. I wish him all the best. I had high hopes for him. I thought he was going to be a Danny Rose regen and kind of come in and kind of dominate that left side, and he was really exciting when he came to us. It's just a shame, those injuries, those domino of injuries. It's just a shame for him, but I do wish him well. I think he's had enough stick. I don't think we need to give him any more, and I don't think he deserves any more. The poor player, he stopped from doing the thing that he loves, and he's been stopped from doing the thing that he loves and was born to do for so long. That's got to be heartbreaking. You got to feel for him. Yes, we're frustrated we didn't get to see him. Yes, he was always injured. Yes, every time he came back, it was only 2 games before he was out again. But you got to feel for him, man. He's still very young. I wish him tremendous luck. But I think that also maybe there's a lesson there as well, in the sense of when you get these young ones, how to play them, how to bed them in, and maybe like overplaying, because he was playing a lot at Fulham, wasn't he, before we signed him. Maybe sometimes overplaying can harm you for the long run as well. So maybe there's a lesson in there as well for the young ones that we've got in the squad right now on how to take care of them and how to give them the right amount of game time and not overuse them too much.
Keith writes here, was so hyped when we signed Sessegnon.
Me too.
I think everyone was. Everyone was very excited. It was one of those ones where there was so much speculation. Every fan in the end was just going, "Oh, just buy him. He's a fantastic player." And it's just sad to see. And I suppose a lot of people were like that about Tongi Ndombele. Exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Bayern Munich goal was dynamite, though, isn't it, from Cess? Come on, at least we had the Bayern Munich goal,
Yeah.
We'll talk anything else about it, but yeah, let's keep it moving. Come on.
Colin Turner writes here, I want success and entertainment. Now, let's talk about the entertainment side, Ricky. I don't think it was that hard to make Spurs more entertaining than some of the football that we saw under Jose Mourinho. And, before that, Nuno, and before that, Jose Mourinho. A huge change was needed at the football club. How confident are you that Ange Postecoglou's style is going to continue to entertain the fans? And do you think there is a bigger expectation now at the start of the season, particularly when we had a good window last summer, and also when we had that run of 10 games where we played super entertaining, fast attacking, one-touch football at times, and we were sitting top of the league? Does it put more pressure on Postecoglou and Spurs to start the season off well and entertain?
I think the entertainment value is going to be there. I don't think that's a worry whatsoever. When it comes down to expectations, there are always high expectations at Tottenham. You know, when Conte went into season 2, we was all like, well, he's going to go, and things happen, right? But with Ange, I do really have this kind of belief in him that he's going to give everything the lot. Do you know what I mean? I think he's going to go for every competition that he's in, including the Premier League. I think he's going to be goals galore. I think that if we get these statement signings, then there is going to be extra pressure on him. But I think us as fans should see the vision and don't put too much pressure on him. Kind of just back him, because when he does trip over, he's going to need somebody to help him up. You know, it's not just loving big Ange instead when he's winning. Do you know what I mean? We've got to see the kind of the green shoots and the change, and the way that they're going about things is the way that we want them to go. But it's not going to work every single time. It's not. So he's definitely the one to back. And yes, there is going to be high expectations, but I would love us to kind of just take him down a little bit. Just take him down a little bit. Let's put the expectation on when we get to, the last 4 games, and go, come on, and then we can chuck it on. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's always high expectation at Tottenham.
Ricky, are you surprised by the mix of opinions and views here? Because Spurs Talk TV have just written, call me crazy, but I think that Ange will win the lot next season. And Adam Jones here says Ange will be gone by Christmas. He's got no plan B. Are you surprised by the mix in the fan base of some people being extremely happy and optimistic, and some people thinking that it's all going to go wrong and we're going to be changing the manager again?
No, I'm not surprised by it, Chris. We've been doing this show for a long time. Do you know what I mean? We've been interacting with fans and issues, and we've had a lot of dramas. We've had more duff than EastEnders ever will have. Do you know what I mean? Like as the club and as fans, So I'm not surprised by the mix, but it makes sense when you look at the turmoil that we've gone through. The turmoil as fans that we've gone through. With Pochettino, who almost took us to the promised land. He was that far away, and we all know the reasons why that we was that far away, because we couldn't just get over the line, and then you've gone through the managers that we've listed and all the turmoil that happened with those guys. Signings that came in that a manager doesn't want, signings that are almost a waste of money. Do you know what I mean? That straight away they come in, they might get 6 months, a year, and then they're on loan. There's been so much turmoil. There's been so many dramas at Tottenham that it makes sense that there's mixed opinions right now. But we haven't been able to build for the last 4 or 5 years. Every single manager has not had 2 pre-seasons in a row. This is the first manager that we've had that has had his second pre-season going into a new season. So we have to believe in something. We have to back something. We have to see something out for the long term and not so much short-term fixes. Because if we continue to go short-term fixes, it's guaranteed that ship is going to have holes in the bottom of it and start sinking again real soon. Because the players won't, mix with this manager, or that manager won't mix with this style of player, and the philosophy is different. We've seen it. We've seen how Tottenham has transitioned through manager and the problems that has brought along the way as well. So we've got to back something. We've got to see something out. We've got to give somebody the faith and the belief and the opportunity to not only succeed but to fail while succeeding. Every single billionaire out there has failed 100 times. Do you know what I mean? Before they got success, you know. And I think we, as a fan base, we need to just get behind him and get behind the boys and hope and pray and push for the best that we can possibly get. You know, it's been a long time since Glory's been at Tottenham, and it's definitely overdue, but we're not going to get it by short-term fixes. We've got to believe in something.
I think the funniest comments of the evening are definitely from Ricky Osvaldo 72. Ricky out, Chris out, and Ricky and Chris are all clueless. Thank you so much for your positive feedback.
No, send in love at you. What was his name?
Ricky Osvaldo 72.
Ricky Osvaldo 72. I'm sending you plenty of love, my friend. Next time, definitely drop some more comments. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we can get on a live at some point and have a conversation. But football's all about difference of opinion. And remember, it will make a fool of us all. It will make a fool of us all at one point. You know, you can write off a player and then next week he scores a hat-trick and then he goes on a run of form. And when you've written him off, and I've written off players over the years, they can come back to bite you. So that's what football's about, man. It's about different opinions and it's about change, you know. And yeah, love out to somebody who shares my name as well, Ricky. So love out to Ricky. I know it's Ricky Villa and Oswald. Yes, I know what you've done, but love out to you too, my friend.
This is what I said to you off air, Ricky, that this is why we're doing these shows, to engage with all of the viewers and listeners, so they have their views heard on this channel. And you know, there's nothing that we don't talk about. All the positive stuff, all the negative stuff, whatever people want to talk about, let's discuss it. Now, a number of comments have come in here. Adam Sower says no to Ivan Toney. Budwise says, I hate to be doom and gloom again, but this season will be tough. This season we will end up 8th at best. RVT Secure says every signing that we want is complicated. We are the problem. If we agreed to buy Ivan Toney earlier, this would not have happened. We wouldn't be in this position. My reaction and my comment to that is we don't actually know whether Ange Postecoglou wants Ivan Toney, so that is all speculation. There is lots of media speculation about Ivan Toney. Ricky, it's fair to say, a number of worried fans, and I know we've both said before about, you know, there's 30 odd days left of the transfer window. I know a lot of people will be extremely angry if we don't get a striker in and we don't get certain players to fill certain positions. But if we're going to talk about the transfer window, it's got to be about the depth, hasn't it? And also what I wanted to say is Ange Postecoglou alluded to this in the press conference pre-Vissel Kobe game in Japan, that there's no point just bringing in anyone. I feel sometimes, and this isn't being harsh, but I feel like some of the fan base sometimes are just happy just to get a signing in. It doesn't matter who it is, they just want a signing in. But if we want to move forward as a football club, they have to be the right players. They have to be the right players that are going to fit in this system, do the job that Ange wants, and of course, a player for the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, I get, like I said earlier, I get the frustration and I know where it comes from. I used to be the same. There's been many times that I've, looked at my phone at a report and that player that I really wanted is suddenly going somewhere else. And I'm like, oh, and I get frustrated, Calafiori, for one, I thought, if we bring him in, if we would have brought him in maybe in January or before the Euro started, what a great set of centre backs we would have there. Do you know what I mean? To rotate and to kind of and have that depth. But that didn't happen. He went somewhere else, and for whatever reason that was, it's not just the money aspect, because he went for a reasonable price. We could have paid that money, no problem. Maybe he went for footballing reasons. Maybe he likes Arteta. Maybe he likes red and white. Who knows? There's plenty of factors in there, but sometimes we get kind of hung up on our own wants when it comes down to transfers, and when we're linked with them, we get excited. And I'm one to do the same. We get excited, and then as soon as we're not linked with them anymore, we're like, damn club. Well, they should have paid the money. And I know where it comes from. But just take it easy, man. Just take it easy. Breathe. I will be angry and upset if we don't go out there and get a number 9 at the very least. You know, I want us to get those danger men in that team right now. You know, and those when I say danger men, these are guys that are going to change the game, but also put the ball in the back of the net. Somebody that we can rely on. You know, and hopefully, for the first time in ages, we'll have 2 number 9s who can compete and rotate. You know, whether that's Richarlison or whether that's somebody else. But hopefully we've got 2 number 9s that can do the job up there.
Ricky, it looks like Emerson Royal will finally move from Spurs, and it now looks like the deal will be done in the coming hours and days with AC Milan. AC Milan, according to Gianluca Di Marzio today, has stated that AC Milan want to complete the deal next week. Of course, we know that Emerson Royal is still away with Spurs, with the squad in South Korea at the moment. What do you make of him moving to AC Milan, and is it yet another player in the squad that we need to replace?
The move to AC Milan is a great one for him. Great one for him. Again, another kind of, if the deal goes through for what it's reported at, I'm sure it'll be different by the time it happens. We haven't got the here we go yet. So if it does go through for that type of money, I think that it's a good deal. It's a good deal for us. It's a good deal for AC Milan. And I'm glad that we held out. I'm glad that when AC Milan were trying to play with us and offering us like 8 mils and 7.5 mils and not going over 10 million euro, that we held out and that there are other teams interested in him. It's a shame with Emerson. I wanted a lot more for him. Another one that you know, done everything that he could. He learned English quickly. He got that hyperbolic chamber. I remember. I think it was it. I can't remember. What was it called? It was that gas chamber thing, wasn't it? What was it called? It's not hyperbolic. It's something. I can't remember. But yeah, he tried to do everything. You know, he looked at his game. He started studying. I can't say his name right now. Hakimi at PSG as a right back to try and up his game. It just didn't work in a Tottenham shirt, really. He was always there for us. You know, even when he had to go centre back last year, he gave it his all. But I think we all feel that there's a mistake in him. I mean, I said to you on, when was it, yesterday, when Sarr made that mistake for Kobe to score the first goal, my initial, and I was watching it on my phone, so I wasn't watching it on the big screen, I was watching it on my phone, but my initial thought was, oh, that was Emerson. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if that's your initial thought with a player, there's something there. So look, Emerson, thank you for everything. It's crazy that every single manager that came in, there wasn't the right manager for you at the right time. But good luck to you in AC Milan. Great club, good league, and I think he'll do well in that league. He'll have a little bit more time and to express himself. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more compilations on X when he's in a red and black shirt.
Ricky, we could literally talk all night about Spurs, especially when hundreds and thousands of comments are pouring in. And I'm so sorry we can't. It's impossible to get through all of them, but we will definitely do this again. And many thanks to the nearly 3,000 people who are tuning in live for this stream. It's simply incredible. I'm going to finish with a comment from Roy Price. And Roy is a huge fan of this show. Always, every single day, I notice Roy always comments on the videos that I post. So, Roy, thank you so much for all of your incredible support. And this has gone on for a number of years now. So thank you. Roy writes, a lot of positives from the Vissel Kobe game. I want to finish on the positive, Ricky. I know that we've been called happy clappers tonight, but you know, it's our show. It's us talking about it, so we can finish with the question that we want to finish with. We're going to finish on a positive note. Of course, we have a couple more friendlies. We've got 3, in fact, 2 in South Korea, 1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when hopefully Harry Kane will return. You know, Harry Kane's not going to be playing in the one in Korea, and we will probably see Eric Dyer return to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as well. The 3 friendlies that we've got left. What do you make of the tests that we've got before, of course, we face Leicester City away on the opening weekend of the Premier League season? And, you know, let's finish on a positive note. There's lots of positives to take from the 3 games that we've played so far.
Yeah, lots of positives to take from the 3 games so far. Yeah, I think we've had some good tests at good times, you know, and everything since Hearts, they've just kept up in the game and up in that competition. But every team's in preseason right now, apart from Kobe. But every team's in preseason right now, and so you're going to get a rotation. You're going to get mixes of squads. But I think it's a good challenge for us. I think it'd be great for the first game against Bayern for some of the young ones to get a start, and let's see what they do against an outfit like Bayern Munich. And then when we get back in to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, there's a great test for the quote unquote first team to get some good minutes underneath their belt and to just get that rhythm back, and then we go into the season. But you know what? Let me ask you, Chris. You've seen the preseason, and you've gone to as many as you can. I know you have. It's crazy that you're not out there right now eating something fried and dipped, but you used to be on a tree somewhere. Do you know what I mean? With wings and stuff, like, and some fans and all of that palaver. It's crazy that I'm not seeing you do any of those things out there. But what have you made of preseason? And my question is like the evolution of Ange Ball, because I've seen loads of different things, right? So the evolution of Ange Ball live. Have you seen a progression? Have you seen a change? Have you seen not just, you know, what we saw last year? Have you seen them step it up a little bit?
It's all about fitness. This the pre-season. I know some people. I know it's funny how I'm going to say this because, of course, we are analysing the games on the Final Thoughts podcast videos after each pre-season game. But of course, as we've all said, it's all about the fitness levels, and the fitness levels were fantastic, in my opinion, against Vissel Kobe because, 38 degrees out in Tokyo, Japan. And, Vissel Kobe are in the middle of their season, extremely fit, very used to the conditions. And the way that Spurs put in that effort on Saturday was incredible. That football, particularly in the final third, really impressed me. The way that we moved the ball so quickly. It reminded me of last season. It reminded me of last summer, the first few games under Postecoglou, where all of us were like, wow, yeah, we like this. We like this type of football. But then, we saw that in the first 10 games of the Premier League season, and then it sort of tailed off. But I want to see that again. I want to see the entertaining style of football, because we didn't finish the season that well. And Ange did get a lot of criticism, but from what I've seen in pre-season so far, and of course we've spoken about the real positives with all of the young players as well, it's all about them taking their opportunity. They're all grabbing it. But like I've always said, and like I said on TalkSport the other day, I just feel like if we could add a few really, really good additions in this squad, and bearing in mind, Ricky, what we've seen so far, I know some people will say, yeah, well, it's only Hearts, QPR and Vissel Kobe. You can only play what's in front of you. It's been 3 good performances so far. The fitness levels have been really good. The youngsters have been fantastic. And we haven't seen Dragushin, we haven't seen Romero, Lo Celso or Van der Ven. So they've all got to come back in. But when you look at the squad, the exciting way that we're playing, you add a few more players in there. I think it can be very, very exciting. But as I say, on every single Tottenham News edition, that we need to keep evolving as a football club. We need to keep moving forward. You need to keep giving Ange the tools in order for us to do that. But I see nothing but positivity right now. That might change, though, Ricky. Putting the balance on it, it might change. We know as Spurs fans that things can change very quickly and very easily. But the transfer windows, I think it is absolutely imperative that we sign a striker. Even if Richarlison is staying, whatever he's doing, I think that we need a striker. Maybe give Lancashire the time as well. But one thing that I don't want to see happen is that we have all of these young players, and Ange Postecoglou has kind of alluded to it as well, that we don't want to keep putting pressure on players so young, especially the likes of Mikey Moore. We saw in the Euros, Yamal, 16, just won the Euros with Spain. What a player he is. Age is just a number, but I do feel like that does need to be handled in the right way, managed in the right way, the Mikey Moore situation. But the youth that we've got coming through is very, very exciting. but we just need those few players to help us kick on. And you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. So it is exciting. From where we were 12 months ago to where we are now, we've moved on so much. And I think that we've probably moved on a lot further than Ange Postecoglou probably thought. So I am excited. Yeah.
Come on. It's coming home.
Ricky, I hope you've enjoyed this. As I said, I jokingly said there's no script because, of course, we do have a skeleton script to follow, every single time we do a podcast. But these last couple, like the one I did with Craig the other night and the one I did with you tonight, it's been absolutely brilliant because we speak very freely. And, of course, the viewers and the listeners, give us the script. And we're only, going by what you're commenting and what you're asking. So thank you so much for all of your involvement. And we will definitely do more of these. Ricky, I hope you will be back to do another one of these very soon.
Absolutely. Listen, it's been awesome. It's been super exciting because you never know where we was going to go or what questions we was going to get. And the positive questions, the negative questions, they were all really good questions. And I appreciate everybody that got involved tonight. Let's do it again real soon, man. Let's do it again real soon. Let's have it.
I suppose I should ask you, is there anything that the viewers or listeners haven't asked you that you do want to say tonight?
Oh goodness, not that I can think of. I mean, I know it's an hour 40 into the show and I only answered 5 questions, but that's how it is. So no, I think we went through a lot today, and honestly, I really do think that the future is really bright. It's lily white, and I think there's going to be good things to come real soon. We deserve it. And I think we're working for it. And I think that we've got clear direction. And keep the faith, believe, and let the good times roll.
Ricky, for anyone new tuning in and they haven't seen you on this podcast before, I find that hard to believe, but if they haven't and they don't know where to find you, where can people find you and what you're up to at the moment?
You can find me on X at Ricky J Norwood, on Insta at official Ricky Norwood. There's no J in the Instagram one. Links are down here on the screen. Just keeping busy. Had a couple of auditions last week. I went back to school. I had a short course at RADA, and we done some acting techniques, and I jumped into a whole new style, and it was phenomenal to go back to school, and it was great to be amongst people and just experiment and make mistakes. Like we were talking about make mistakes and just find new brushes to paint with when it comes down to acting. So it was really awesome. I've got some exciting meetings next week, so we shall see. But yeah, just trying to keep busy and keep a smile on my face.
Ricky, as I said to Craig the other day, you guys are such an important part of this podcast. So I just wanted to say a public thank you so much for all of your incredible support. And not only are you a great guest, but you're a great friend to me. So thank you so much for all of your support and input.
No, bless you, bro. You're a great friend to me too, man. And that's what's beautiful about podcasts. And it brings us together for a common love. And then you get to build friendships and brotherhoods throughout it. There's so many people that I've not met through you and would never have met if it wasn't for you. And the fact that we've got our own little community here with you fans as well, all watching at home, it is a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. So thank you. Thank you for all your love and support, not just in football and Tottenham Hotspur, but in life too, brother. It means a lot.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. And if you are listening to this on an audio platform, there is still time to get your comments in and your questions in. So we will discuss as many as possible on the next edition. So do keep commenting and asking questions on all of the streams and all of the other videos that I post on YouTube. And by the way, that we are now nearly up to 120,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. So thank you so much for all of your incredible support. We will be back very soon for another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast. But until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on.